So it's been really cold here and the roads are pretty well frozen over. They're starting to thaw out a little bit today, but it's really been cold for the birds, so we wanted to make sure we had enough food and water for them during this time, especially now that this winter seems to be really coming on strong. So there's a couple of things we bought, so I'm going to show you the additional products we bought for our birds. I'm new to birding, so I don't know a lot about it. We're just trying our best and trying different things. So this is what we've done so far.
So I came inside my favorite big box store, which is Menards, which you only find basically in the Midwest, and they have a ton of bird suet that you can buy. So you don't have to make your own, and I'll show you what they have. It's a really big selection. There are a lot of bird feeders to choose from, all different kinds, but believe it or not, none of them really detract the squirrels as much as these that have the small openings that the birds can perch on, and they can poke their nose either into the opening like that or through the holes if the holes are big enough on the mesh. But I'm looking for the little suet feeder. I don't see it. I see a lot of birdhouses. There's wooden, metal, plastic. Just depends on what you want. Here's a cedar seed and suet holder. Not so sure. Pitch station. Still looking for the holder that will work for the suet logs. I don't know if I can find that. I don't know if they have any left. We'll have to see. Here's a pretty little suet holder that's shaped like a butterfly. Here's another form of suet you can buy. They're called suet plugs. I need to find the feeder. The feeder is usually, looks like a little birdhouse with holes on either side, and you push this through and the birds can just perch and eat that, but I'll have to find this holder first. I can't find the holder for the suet plugs, but I did find this. This is like a long tube block that you can hang off of a limb or another shepherd's hook or for an additional feeder. So I think I'm going to go and buy this one. They have a couple of flavors, so I'm going to just get one of these. They're only $3.79. All these are different suet cakes. They have the actually sticks. These are like bricks or blocks that you can get. The ones that are made for songbirds down there. As you can see, this one's a songbird. These are almond treats, fruit and nut treats, berry treats. There's hot pepper suet. There's something I've never seen. Here's ones that you can actually stake, which might be a good idea for me in the ground. Maybe the squirrels can't climb up onto it and get it. I'm not sure. That's a thought. Here's up on the top of the suet feeder. That's cute because I can hang that off of my shepherd's hook. That's only $4.99. So this is the suet feeder that you can buy where you can stake those round ones and hang it from either a tree limb, but I have two shepherd's hook. I can use that as well. So I might buy that for my garden. Like I said, here's the steakums. They have a couple of them to choose from. They're $3.49 and the holder was $5.99. So that's not a bad price. I mean, so this will hold 4 cakes, and I'm wondering if I put this up on my shepherd's hook, if it will deter the squirrels, because I don't know if they're really into suet. They may be though, and this will allow them to just pull it right out and start eating it, detract from the birds again. So I could try it. It'll be a hit or miss thing for me. Here's something I could also try. There's a hanging tray that I could hang off of my shepherd's hook. And they also have cute little bird houses. This is a Scandinavian open nest for different doves, robins, cardinals. And then they have this little Scandinavian one that's used for bluebirds. It's so cute. They're made of wood. I think they're going to take a little bit of a beating. So I'm not sure about buying something wood in this environment, but maybe they only use them one season and then you buy a new one. I doubt it. They probably just get wet.
We decided to try to put out some oranges. I don't know if that really is something that they go for, and the weather, they started to freeze. But what I did buy is this stackable suet, and I think that's really cool. So we bought some that's like a seed and some that's like a peanut butter, and we hung up on their shepherd's hooks. Hopefully the squirrels won't get to them. If they do, we have a trick that we learned on another person's website or YouTube channel of how you can control squirrels. We did learn from somebody that they don't like red pepper, so this is a red pepper suet holder. And we did buy a little tray here, and because we have these planters, we just hung it underneath. It's not a very big planter box here, so we were able to hang it right off of the metal. And we put some mealworm, some nut and berry, and some whole sunflower seeds in there. And then I have the additional suet feeder here with some of my homemade suet that I bought, and there's a video on that you can watch as well. The squirrels do come around here, and this is the Tasty Tweets feeder. Believe it or not, these holes, because they're smaller than 1 3/4, they really can't do much with it. They can get their hand in there a little bit, but they kind of get bored and tired of it, and they kind of go away. As you can see, this is filled with peanuts. Of course, you know, birds would peck at that to get to the peanuts. That would be fine. And there were some oranges. We did put apple out, and the squirrels did like the apple, so that was good. I'm not against the squirrels. I just don't want them to be taking all the food away from the birds. And I always throw some food on the ground regardless. This way the squirrels and the birds can both get it. And I have my water tray here. I just emptied it out. You can see it was full of ice. So I'm going to be putting some clean water in there and leaving it in the corner for the birds. I don't know if they've really used it or found it, but I'm going to try my best to keep the birds at healthy and happy during this really cold bout of winter here in Kansas. Interesting suet holder. It's a stackable suet holder, and right now we just have a large one of this hot pepper because the hot pepper is good for the birds. It's supposedly going to help deter the squirrels. They don't like it, and we bought a small tray that we suspended from our planters here, and we just put some mealworms and some sunflower seeds and some mixed seed in here. Hopefully they will find it. And we have our other shepherd's hook over here that has a suet holder, and that's some of the suet that I made myself with the peanut butter. And then we have my water tray. I'm going to clean that out because, as you can see, it had nothing but ice in it, so I need to put some fresh water out for the birds. This Tasty Tweets bird feeder that has the 4 hanging feeding trays from it, working out really well. Actually, the squirrels get really tired of trying to get into this hole. This hole is fairly small, and they can't get their hand in there. There is a piece, I don't know if you can tell, but there's a piece in there that's keeping them from getting their hand all the way in. So they can't really get in there, and they get really bored. They will go after this tray if I feed it, and put feed in there, I guess, and they will try to get the nuts out of here, but the nuts are hard. And we were also told that the peanuts are not good when it starts to be like nesting season, when they have their young, because if they were to feed these whole peanuts to their babies, they would probably choke on them. So that's something. But actually, this Tasty Tweets feeder is really working out good. They don't like this thin pole here. They've been sliding on that, and I don't see them as being as ambitious as some of these other people have posted on other YouTube videos, but it's okay. And we bought some sunflower hearts and chips because it was noted that they like the ones that are already hulled. We bought some Midwest blend because we do live in the Midwest, and some nut and fruit blend, and we bought some dried mealworms for insect-loving birds, and we're going to store all of it inside of this boiler that I bought, this rusted boiler that I'm using as decorative on my front porch. I'm going to keep all the food in here, so that's going to come out really handy. And we also bought something that I've never had before, was a scoop, and it has a open and close here, so you can open it and then the seed will come out through there. So that will go into my bird feeders that I will show you. This is the Tasty Tweets bird feeder, and I have to tell you that it's working out really well. The squirrels, for some reason, are not able to get into this hole. It's small enough, and they don't want to play with it too much. The seed is pretty hard to get out of there, and they don't like this thin part here. They tend to like fall off of it or just give up. And they do go after the food if I put it in this tray. And I do leave some on the ground for the birds and for them as well. But the Tasty Tweets feeder is really working out well. I don't know if other people had problems with it, but I like it a lot. I also have another shepherd's hook on the other end of my house that I put another stackable suet feeder on here. And this one has some peanut butter suet as well as a big block of seeds, and these are great. They already come with a hole in them, and it holds up there really good. So far, squirrels haven't tried to get onto it. The birds haven't quite yet found it, so hopefully they will find it soon. today it turned out to be a really nice day. It's gone up into the 50s finally, so everything has thawed out. So there were a couple of changes I made now that I could get outside and not totally be working in the freezing cold or in the mud. So let me show you some of the quick changes I did. Some of them involve kind of getting rid of the squirrel issue. I'm not opposed to feeding the squirrels, but they're really taking over the whole feeding process for the birds and not leaving anything for them. So I've had a look online, found YouTube, a couple of videos showing me what to do, and I've taken it upon myself to try them, and hopefully they will work. First off, I had a bunch of fake flowers in this planter box. Everything was just wet and getting destroyed. I just removed all of those. It's just going to clean up the space and make it nice and neat. I also had this feeder actually suspended under here, but it turns out the squirrels were able to jump and get over here. So I have since moved it onto my shepherd's hook. And I've also strung a slinky around it so that when they try to get up it, if they try to get up it, I've never seen them climb the shepherd's hook. I've had other feeders on here, and it would hopefully deter them so the birds will have access to the tray feeder now. Coming over to my Tasty Tweets feeder, I see that something has been eating the red pepper suet, so that's good. I cleaned out all the feeders and I replaced it with all fresh food. And I also strung the slinkies around here. So hopefully again it will deter them. Now they do need water, so I've been trying to make sure that I can give the birds some water. So I set up a little area here underneath the tree, which I think is more realistic for the birds since they feel more secure and they can jump to the tree when they need to and, do whatever they normally do. So I also put, if you can see, I put some of these glass beads in there to weigh it down and then put water in it. And I also just took a inexpensive, let me see if I can show you this underneath here. There's a little green planter under there that I bought from Dollar Tree, and I just filled that with some of the glass beads to weigh it down. So it's elevated off the ground for the birds as well. I completed everything I can do so far for the birds. Now if the weather holds up, I'll be able to get outside more frequently, change all the water out, replace food in the feeders. But I'll tell you, I can hear the squirrels in the trees just chattering away, hoping that they could get to some of this feed, and I'm hoping that those slinkies actually deter them enough so now the birds can feed in peace. So if you like this video, give it a like, a share, a thumbs up, and a subscribe, and I'll see you next time on Big City Girl, Small City Living.